Today is an interesting mood day, so let's try and tell you about it as quickly as I can while everyone's distracted, and hopefully in one take so I don't have to edit anything and I can get on to watching Buffy. Um, Okay, what happened? So, yesterday, Thursday, my recovery from bonsai day, but I was actually feeling really, really shit because I think I hadn't slept very well, and then I wake up to do Hope's meds, and I was feeling quite headachy, so I took some Panadol and went back to bed for a bit for the half hour until his breakfast is due, and then I did his breakfast, and then I fell back into bed and stayed in bed until about 11:30 and was still feeling pretty gross. So what? I probably had breakfast, yeah, and then I tried to stay awake, but I think I probably took some more headache pills, either Panadol or Nurofen. I don't even remember the sequence of events, and I just went back to bed. And I don't think I changed out of my pajamas until about 2:30 when Hope's like, "Right, you've been here for long enough. Take me for a walk." And so I had to, get dressed and all that. But I think it was a bit windy and cold, so I only took him around the block because I was feeling pretty crap still. So, like, it was mainly headaches and sort of feeling nauseated. Um, and I thought, this isn't good. I did manage to eat though, so that's interesting. Like, even for dinner, I think I even went back for seconds. But yeah, no, I was just feeling pretty off. And I was like, gee, if I go to bed and wake up still feeling shit, I should probably go run off and get a COVID test. The difficult thing about COVID tests is if you go, well, if I were to go for every symptom that they say that you should get tested, I would constantly be getting tested because I have like this hay fever thing where in the morning I will sniffle like crazy, and sometimes later in the day, but always in the morning I'm just like I need tissues and so on. So with hay fever, I would just be constantly getting COVID tests and not be able to do anything in my life because they tell you you have to go and isolate until you get your results. But so yeah, that's why, like, I know if I'm responsible, I should go and get a test. But realistically, especially because I don't live in an area that's had, you know, a lot of the cases lately. Anyway, so I was like, well, if I still have these horrible headache, which wasn't being solved by the headache pills, and if I still, have queasiness and all that, well, I should go and get a test. So I went to bed. I did watch Buffy last night, but then I went to bed around like 9:30, which is really early for me. Um, and then I didn't really sleep too well. I was sort of tossing and turning, having a few interesting moments, but we won't get into that because I will go forever. So that my brain was going over things like am I autistic? And my conclusion so far is no, because after going through all the factors, I'm like, it doesn't add up. And when you look at the problems in my life, it really started at puberty, whereas autism is like childhood, blah, 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 blah. So, my brain went through this whole thing of trying to work out whether or not I fit autism. And with the latest criteria, like level 1, I don't fit. So I was just sort of, I'm pretty sure I've already rambled about this, but last night my brain just had to go through it in like, that sort of sleep detail where your brain sleep. One of the purposes of sleep and dreaming and all that kind of stuff is your brain processing information in the background, and I was just awake for all of it. Or most of it anyway. And then the other thing that my brain was really working on was destroyer stuff, which for some of you won't mean anything, but it got a little bit interesting. So yeah. Um, and I guess like the reason that my brain was thinking about that is because I'm thinking about like music and creativity, and the only reason I did all that stuff is because of that. So yeah, so much of my life is run by that idea, and then yeah. And so when I finally calmed down from that, I think, what was I thinking about then? I don't know. I think that's probably where I was drifting more into sleep and maybe going back to the autism thing. I don't know. Anyway, basically, cut my rambling. I was just, my brain was doing so much stuff and I was sort of awake for it, and blah 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 blah. But I was also farting all night, which it's relevant because I think my stomach has been doing some stuff, and so when I woke up, I did have headaches through the night, but when I woke up, I woke up before my alarm, and I was sort of like feeling like, hey, I could get up now. And then 6:30 the alarm goes off and I'm up and out of bed, and I had so much energy. Like I haven't been this awake and alert and full of energy in fucking years probably. Just feeling really good for no reason except that I was farting all night, I guess, because I didn't sleep. I was aware of all these thoughts going on in my head and some of the other things. Um, yeah, just farting all night. And so this morning, 6:30 done Hope's meds, and then I had my breakfast, and then 7 o'clock Hope's breakfast, and then I think I probably checked some messages, but then like really early in the morning, I was just like, what do I even do with myself? I think it was maybe even 9 or 9:30, and I'm just like running around the house going, what do I do with myself? I mean, I had so much energy this morning that like I was having breakfast waiting, and then Hope's alarm went off, and I had been talking to Dad, I think, and Mikey's sitting there and he's like, why are you awake? And Hope's alarm goes pickle pickle, and I was like all this kind of stuff, and they're like, oh my god, you're never like this in the morning. I think even Mikey was shocked because I was just like um so getting back on track, no, I think around 9 or 9:30 I settled down and did some bonsai. And I repotted. I've got video of it coming up because I've been trying to make videos about bonsai and gardening type stuff ages, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna break that all up for you. So or maybe I just do a mega plant video, because how many of you guys even care about this stuff? I don't know. But no, so I did bonsai. I repotted 2 juniper cascades, which like one of them is Mum's, and I don't think it's ever been repotted since we first did that class where we made them in 2004. So I'm like, wow, the fact that it's still going all right, and it wasn't root bound. I was surprised how few roots there were, and it was just like, well, hopefully my training with my job means that I've judged the right amount to cut off, because I don't want to kill them. But we will see them. I mean, they're junipers. They'll be all right. Anyway, so I did that, and then it was like 11:30ish, and yeah, got ready and went to lunch with Mum. To a place that we weren't sure if it was going to be open, but thankfully they still are. But Mum's thinking a lot of the Japanese people seem to have gone home, because there were less Japanese people than usual, and it seems like the owner of the shop was there and she isn't usually there, or I don't know. Mum pays attention to who is running Japanese shops because she's Japanese and she prefers Japanese people to be there, because sometimes, like, if you're not Japanese, you don't really understand the flavors and so on, I guess. But I couldn't taste any different, and I don't think she could. It was really tasty, and we ate so much, and I felt so fat, and it was so hard not going into a food coma this afternoon. Yeah, and then what did I do after that? It's just been like, well, I think because I was in a food coma, I sat down for a bit and was doing stuff, and then there's a few things. Oh, I did my work from home job, and then there's a few things I had to get onto, like reporting my income to the government for, I mean, then I'm on JobKeeper, but I still have Job Seeker open, and I still have to report to Job Seeker even though they're not paying me anything, because like just in case, and it's confusing with all the different things going on in Australia right now, and what's going to happen after September, I don't know. So yeah, just taking care of like all those admin type stuff. And there's one more thing I just realized I haven't done yet, but it's not urgent, so that's okay. And then what have I been doing? I think that took me a while. I feel like I've been productive today, and dinner and stuff, and now I'm here, and I think that's basically my 2 days. So like yesterday I was feeling really crap, then I farted all night, and now I feel good. And it was kind of fun telling my parents like, I feel good after farting all night. And my brother though was like, yeah, why do you think I'm so cheerful all the time? And I'm like, oh my god. Okay. But no, I suspect that I might have developed a mild lactose sensitivity. I don't know for sure, but I've sort of been noticing for maybe a few years actually, like I tend to have certain foods with milk, and I've noticed with some of those combinations, sometimes I feel a bit off. And I think it might be the presence of the milk, because it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I have apple juice. I have apple juice usually for dinner these days, although, that's a habit that took a while to form. I was sort of mixing it up before that. But now I've decided, no, I like apple juice. But yeah, I think I've sort of just drank less and less milk, like large things of milk, over the years. And I guess perhaps my stomach chemicals, bacteria, or whatever it is that processes the milk have maybe lessened. And it turns out that this is something that can happen to you as you get older. And I didn't know this until I watched Jim Jeffries' latest special on Netflix, which I think is called Intolerant, which has some interesting tie-ins between being lactose intolerant and like tolerance, political correctness, and a few other things. But like the whole thing revolves around him being lactose intolerant, and he said in that he was fine with milk products like forever, and then all of a sudden he became lactose intolerant, and it's just a thing that can develop, and sucks to be him because those are some of his favorite foods. And of course, being Jim Jeffries, it doesn't go well. Anyway, that's how I found out that you can actually develop lactose intolerance over time. Because, before that, I had been thinking, like, there's something weird when I have certain foods, but I can't work out what it is, and I haven't, you should be more systematic to try and find these things out. But now that I know you can get this, I'm like, maybe that's what's going on. So I'm seeing my doctor on Monday, originally for mental health things, which I will talk about, but I might also raise the question of, could this be a thing? I mean, there are a few other things that, like, I tend to have milk if I'm having spicy food, and then there's, like, certain other things I tend to have it with, and I'm like, well, I guess it could be something like that, like maybe some kind of meat product. I don't know. It's hard to work out because I've never had any kind of food sensitivity before. I have food preferences, but I don't have sensitivities as far as I'm aware. So that'll be an interesting thing to explore. Maybe I'm just getting that old. And maybe that's why I was feeling a bit off, because I think I was feeling off most of this week, really. I don't know if you guys remember how I've been acting this week with my almost daily uploads, but yeah, and I did have milk earlier in the week, and then I had milk, I think Wednesday night we had chili con carne or something, and so I would have had it then, and maybe that's why I was feeling crap on Thursday. Like, yes, working on Wednesday all day tires me out, but also maybe that I had too much milk. Like, I can still have ice creams and, like, tea. I always have tea with a little bit of milk, except for chamomile tea, which I've got here and which is getting cold again. Because I got carried away as usual. Like, I was like, no, I'll try and fit under 10 minutes. But wait, lactose. No, like, I can have cheese and I can have all these kinds of things. But I think it's when I have a proper, like, glass of full milk. And I'm not sure if it's just small glasses or maybe it's when I have a little bit more. But it's just, like, the milk itself. So I guess it could be something specific to milk that I've become sensitive to, but yeah, I don't know. I just assumed that I was fine because I've never had any kind of allergy as far as I'm aware. I mean, the closest I've had to an allergy is like one antibiotic, I think, made me feel a bit depressed. I think when we were doing my acne, we tried something like that. But I was depressed a lot then anyway, so I can't tell for sure if that's what caused that. And then I had a lot of medications for depression that didn't work well for me and bad side effects. But apart from that, like in terms of food, never had any sensitivities to anything, so this could be interesting. And as a female, a little bit concerning because, as you get older, osteoporosis, and I'm not the most healthy person out there, but hey, there's pills for that, I guess, calcium pills and vitamin D and blah, 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 blah. I am an old lady. I am so old. Oh my god. Let's cut it off before 15 minutes. Like YouTube used to be 10-minute limit, except that you could squeeze over the next one. So I did 11-minute videos, and then they made it 15 minutes. So yeah, we're still fitting this one under old school YouTube limits. And I'm sorry about the audio because if I'm not editing this, I'm not going to be able to make it in sync. So yeah. You just have to put up with that, won't you? I'm gonna go and watch Buffy. No, wait, I'm gonna upload this and it's gonna take a while. And then I'm gonna watch Buffy. The things I do for you people coming on here and saying, no, 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 no. Oh, do I have anything to complain about? Like my stuff, send me money, listen to my music, blah, blah, blah. I had one more to add, but I can't remember. Like, I had a new complaint, but it's too late, we're done.